Hello! Today we're going to be learning about the U.S. Customary Capacity. Um, this is adapted from your Go Math Lesson 10.2. So our learning target is I can convert different sizes measurement units in the U.S. Customary System. Your target practice today is I can convert the capacities of fluid ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. Okay, what does it mean to convert? Last lesson, we know that when we convert something, we change the form so that it can be used in a different way. Coal and diamonds are virtually the same. They just changed. It's really important that you understand that when we're kind of dealing with things that are equal, when we're dealing with equations, all that stuff. Okay, here are our vocabulary list. Capacity, fluid ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. Capacity, this is very important, is how much a container can hold. We know that fluids is kind of what we're dealing with as far as, talking about capacity. But anything can be filled in a container. So, but be thinking about fluids. All right, fluid ounces is the unit of liquid that is about how much fits in a small medicine cup. Now, for medicine cups, if you look it up, can either be 1 to 2 fluid ounces, just depends, but that's about what a fluid ounce is. Cups are a small glass that holds about 8 fluid ounces. So if you grabbed your your small medicine cup and filled it up 8 times and put it in a cup, you would have what we have a standard cup. There's only one way to fill up a cup in this customary system. Pints is equal to 2 cups. So if you filled up 2 cups with those fluid ounces and you took those 2 cups and put it in a container that can hold a pint, that's what a pint would be. So, and then quarts is the same thing as 4 cups or 2 pints. So we basically took we took a pint, and we multiplied it by 2, right, to get quarts. Now we took 1 cup, multiplied it by 4 to get to a quart. And then a gallon, you've all seen a gallon of milk. That's kind of what we're working with. Is the same as 16 cups or 8 pints or 4 quarts. You should notice that quart has the prefix of quart, and it means 4. So that's why you would have 4 quarts in a gallon. You would have 8 pints in a gallon, and then 16 cups. All right. Same thing as last lesson. Please pull out your notebook. We're going to be doing the Frayer model for the previous vocabulary words to help you picture it and kind of get your mind working on some things that you can measure within capacity. So, and also please refer to your notes for your homework, so you don't have to kind of go back and forth between the PowerPoint and the homework, but you can. There are ways to do it. It's pretty good to, write notes to help you remember. Okay, we know the definition of capacity. These are the kind of pictures that I'm thinking in my brain. I'm thinking of containers, I'm thinking of water bottles, soda bottles, like big water jugs, and a cup, for sure. Give it an example. I want you to give an example of something that can hold liquid. All the things that I said would be an example. A non-example is something that can't have capacity. This is relating to like 2D versus 3D, right? Like a piece of paper doesn't have capacity, doesn't have that volume. It's really important that you understand that. So there's plenty of non-examples and examples of capacity. Okay. Fluid ounce. I have a picture of a medicine cup. These are those cups that they give you when they give you medicine so that you can measure it. Usually in those measuring cups, they have the metric system and U.S. Customary Capacity. And so, I don't know. I have like 1,000 of these, so I can, that's what I picture. I'm going to give an example of something that that would be an ounce. And that's kind of like medicine, right? You would take like probably an ounce of medicine. That would be my example. A non-example, is there something that is less than an ounce? In my head, I'd be thinking about like maybe like, I don't know, like shots would probably be less than an ounce. Maybe like when you have like a water bottle and you have those like squirt things that like to make your water like flavor, you wouldn't put a whole ounce of that in your water unless you wanted to. I don't think it's recommended on the bottle. Like maybe like ink in your pen. Yeah, like ink in your pen would be like probably have less than an ounce unless you have like a jumbo pen that's like, I don't know, like a gag gift. Maybe might have more than an ounce, maybe not. An ounce of ink is a lot. Okay, cups. Anytime I think of a cup, like I do think of a cup, but it's not like a standard U.S. customary cup. And so I think of like when I do a lot of baking or making food, I have a measuring cup that looks just like this. And so I got it to where it looks like the cup is filled, or the measuring cup is filled to a cup. So give an example of something that you would drink that's only a cup, maybe like a cup of soda, during dinner. Or like maybe you would put a cup of like detergent. That actually seems like way too much. Maybe you would use a cup of detergent in 2 loads of laundry. That seems about right. But do you see how like I'm using a way to understand a cup by like what I would measure something like laundry? Or maybe you would put a cup of, I don't know, like now I can't think of anything else. But yeah, a cup. Non-example, I wanted to give something that you would drink that would be more than a cup. So maybe you would have like 3 glasses of soda at dinner. I don't know. I just want you guys to picture what that would be in your everyday life. I definitely have I drink a lot of LaCroix, so it would be like lots of cups of LaCroix. Okay, 2 cups, a pint, guys. Give an example of something that would be a pint. So I don't know, like when I think of a pint, I think of like a pint of ice cream. Like I have a few like Ben and Jerry pints of ice cream. Have I eaten a pint of ice cream? You bet. I've eaten tons of pints of ice cream. So that would be my example. To give an example of something that would be more than a pint, maybe like a gallon of ice cream. You've seen a gallon of ice cream. It's pretty big. I don't know if I can eat a gallon of ice cream. I think if I was really, sad or something, I would eat a gallon of ice cream, but I don't think I've ever tried to eat a gallon of ice cream. But if I had more than 1 pint, maybe I could try to eat a gallon of ice cream. Quart. Remember when we think of quarts, we think of 4. Maybe that could be added on to the picture to help you remember. 4. But I have the picture of, oh, I didn't really even talk about the last picture. So this measuring cup is like the top line is 2 cups. And so I just filled it to the very top. And so the next page, our next slide, has 2 of those 2 cups. So that's what a quart would be. And then maybe give an example of something that is a quart. I honestly don't know. I think you can buy a quart of ice cream. But yeah, I can't think of something that would be a quart. No. Give an example that something is more than a quart. Well, anything that's a gallon, right? It's a gallon of milk, gallon of ice cream, gallons of gas. Yeah. And I'm sure that like when you get gas, that like extra change, that like the decimal could be measured somehow in pints, quarts, all of that good stuff, because it's less than a gallon. So I don't know. Maybe that's where you'd find a quart. But I really, don't really have a ton of examples. But to be completely honest, like the U.S. customer system is kind of out of whack. Like none of these numbers, have like necessarily like a number relationship, but definitely has like historical references to all of this. But yeah, and a lot of this stuff, guys, you're learning American history right now. A lot of our influence came from England because a lot of our settlers came from England. So like this is like and they call it like the oh man, what do they call it? There's another name for this that has to do with England. It's like the imperial system. Like there's lots of names, and a lot of this is where we get our customary, like our measuring system. So yeah, some knowledge. All right. Gallon. 4 of these bad boys. Remember, 2 of them as a quart. Wait a second. I don't have enough. Oh, no. This would actually be half a gallon. Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, let me just... That is an accident I will fix in your... I'm going to multiply this by 2. Whoops. That's okay. Give an example of something that is measured in gallons. I said this before. Gasoline is measured in gallons. Milk. Ice cream. Miss Pedrosa doesn't have any other examples of what's measured in gallons. I'm sure your parents do. I'm really, like, not that much older than you guys. But, gallons, yeah. I don't know what you would buy. Like, maybe, paint? Yeah, like a gallon of paint. For sure. For sure. Alright, let's give an example of something that is more than a gallon. I don't know. A ton? Like, pound? No. And this is something that I'm surprised that Go Math hasn't gone through, is that there's a difference between weight and capacity. Not too much of a difference, but a difference for sure. But yeah, we're not going to really learn about pounds and tons, because it has to do with weight. We're kind of just talking about like volume, which kind of has to do with, it's weight versus mass, right? But conversation for another day. I don't want this video to be too long. Okay, again, how we convert. Anytime we're going from a larger unit, so a quart on this left side is a larger unit, and we're trying to convert it to a smaller unit. So we have to multiply. To get here. And when we multiply, we get a large number, right? We're going from 2 to 4. So we know that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. And there's 2 quarts, so we multiply this by 2 to get 4 pints. Okay, remember we're starting in quarts right here, and we're going up. So we have to multiply. We're going to a smaller unit. And so same thing with when we're going down. We have to divide. We're going from 4 to 2. We know that there are 2 pints in 1 quart. We know that we have we divide our pints by 2. So remember, when we are dividing, our number is getting smaller. We're kind of putting, it's like if we have these filled to the brim, all the way to the top, and we're just kind of pouring them in, right? Pouring them in. Yeah, that's how you convert. This is something that we talked about in the last lesson, so you should be familiar with it. You should know when to multiply, when to divide. But we're just talking about capacity this time. And this should be familiar from 4th grade. And when you practice on Khan Academy, it's going to say a 4th grade standard. But we're going to get into more of the 5th grade standard in later lessons. Okay. So, we're going to unlock the problem. Mara has a can of paint with 3 cups of purpose paint in it. She also has a bucket with a capacity of 26 fluid ounces. Will the bucket hold all the paint Mara has? All right. 3 cups, working with 3 cups, 26 fluid ounces, and we're going to figure out if the bucket will hold all the paint. Okay, so Mara has a can of paint with 3 cups of purpose paint. So we know that 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. 8 fluid ounces. Go ahead and write that down. So, yep, that's step 1. We use the table. And you will have this table. I'm not going to make you memorize this. And there's no way for me to know that you've memorized it. So, we're just we're going to keep it open. And we'll review this. You'll review this with your teacher next year. So, I'm not too worried about it. Just making sure that we have at least practiced it, that you know of it, that you understand capacity and how to convert. Okay, so I don't expect you to model because look how many 1 fluid ounces are in a cup. There's 8. I don't want you to draw that many. That's just going to take forever. But it kind of helps you understand in your brain. It totally helps me. I'm a visual learner, so just something to think about as far as like picturing it in your head. But we're going from a larger unit, like cups, and then we're going to ounces. So we know that there's 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup. So you'd write down here in this equation, 3 times 8 is 24. There should be 24 fluid ounces. Okay, now we're going to compare to Mara's 26 fluid ounce bucket. Right, so we're going to take this 24. We're going to use these. We used these symbols like the beginning of the year, but it's probably good that we review. It's always good to review. So in order, this guy means less than, equals less than. This guy equals greater than. handwriting. Less than, greater than, equal to, right? Equal, the equal sign. But a way for that I remember, and I'm probably your parents too, is that pretend that those symbols are alligators, alligator mouths, or even a Pac-Man mouth. I remember my school teacher telling me to do this, like a Pac-Man. I don't know. I still picture them as like alligator mouths, but the alligator wants to eat the bigger number, the larger number, and so you want your alligator mouth to go to the larger number, even though this right here, this symbol means less than. So we know that 24 is less than 26 fluid ounces. So Mara's bucket will hold all of the paint. Looky there. I'm write it twice. My bad, guys. It will, WILL. It will hold all of the paint. Okay, there is a song here to help you picture capacity. So do that on your own time. All right, here's an example. And I think there's only one example. Yeah, there's only one example in this whole thing. So we're about done. Carl made 32 pints of fruit punch for a party. She needs to carry the punch in 1-gallon containers. Okay, we're going from pints to gallons. We're going in this direction right there. So if we're going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, and it's going to say this on the next slide, we're going to divide, guys. Because we have to be like picturing these little guys, these little pints are going in. One, you guys need to know that we're actually converting this twice. We're converting it into quarts, and then we're converting it into gallons. So, just to let you know. We're doing this 2 times. So, we want to convert pints into quarts. We know that we look at the quarts, there are 2 pints. 2 pints in 1 quart. So we're going to divide by 2. So we get 16. And then we're going to take those quarts, 16 here. 16 divided by how many quarts are in a gallon? We know that there's 4, right? Because quart means 4. So there's 4 total gallons. Now, here's the thing. This kind of reminds me of when we simplify. There's a way easier way to do this, right? You can go from 32 to 4 pretty easily, right? You just divide it by 8, right? If we know that there's 8 pints in 4 gallons, all you have to do is take 32 and divide it by 8. And that has to do with these 2 numbers, right? 2 times 4 is 8. So 32 divided by 8 equals 4. I don't know. Whatever's easiest for you guys. There's 2 ways to do this, obviously. Just make sure that you're double checking your work and double checking this capacity, the table, right? Again, we're dividing. Yeah. So Coral would need 4 1-gallon containers to carry in her punch. She made a lot of punch. A lot. Okay, go ahead and do this problem right here. Student practice. Make sure you understand the operation that you're doing. It's just one problem. It shouldn't take too long. There's 3 parts of the problem. But, yeah.